Hello, and welcome back to Learn My Heritage with me. I am your host, Mary Bennett, and this podcast is brought to you by the Hózhó Path Renewal. I'm a Diné woman who is reclaiming what was interrupted one step at a time. Because of assimilation and general disruption, there are many of us out there that are finding our way back to the teachings that weren't fully passed down. This podcast is my own personal reclamation, spoken out loud so that it will root deeper within me. These teachings that I share are all publicly available. I'm not sharing ceremony. I'm not speaking for all Diné people. I will be weaving in some Diné Bazad, which is the Navajo language. I didn't grow up with it, so it won't be perfect. And that's part of this journey. Jogo nash do. I'm walking in beauty. And if you're reconnecting too, you're in the right space. Let's begin. Welcome back to Learn My Heritage with me. I am your host, Mary Bennett. I am a Diné woman reclaiming the teachings, stories, and the knowledge that was interrupted through generations of boarding schools, forced assimilation, and displacement. And this podcast is not about me being an expert. It's about learning alongside you, in front of you. Everything that I share here comes from publicly available knowledge and teachings. And this is my own journey of reclamation and reconnecting. My hope is that whether or not you are Indigenous and reconnecting with your roots, or if you're simply someone who wants more knowledge, who wants to better understand the Diné, my hope is that you'll find something meaningful here. Today's episode is about the Kéék'eh Haschíín, which is a traditional blessing, a pathway ceremony associated with a child's first step. As I was learning about this, I soon realized that this teaching isn't solely about children. It's about every single one of us. Because truthfully, we're all still learning how to walk. Not physically, but emotionally, spiritually, culturally. As I worked and researched through these teachings, I realized that maybe that's exactly what this entire podcast has become. It's me learning how to walk back towards my heritage, one step at a time. Kéék'eh Haschíín is a traditional Diné blessing ceremony that's associated with the child's first steps. When a child begins walking, new moccasins are blessed with Diné, which is corn pollen, and it's placed upon a prepared pathway for the child's first steps. The child is then encouraged to walk that blessed path so that they may continue through life in beauty, in harmony, in balance, and in blessing. So before a child learns where they're going, they're first blessed in how they'll get there. And that feels so different from how we live today. We tend to ask children, what do you want to be when you grow up? What college are you going to go to? What career do you want? How successful do you want to become? Our world has become obsessed with destination, but this teaching begins somewhere different. It begins with character. It begins with harmony. It begins with how we choose to walk. One phrase that is connected to the teaching speaks of walking the pathway of Sa'a Nagai Kéék'eh Haschíín. While there have been entire books that have been written about this philosophy, one way it's often understood is living a long life through beauty, harmony, balance, and continuous growth. Because that pathway is not about perfection. It's about alignment, because nobody walks perfectly. Children don't, adults don't. But when a toddler falls while learning how to walk, we don't criticize them. We don't tell them they're not good enough. We clap. We encourage. We help them stand back up. And then somewhere along that way, we stop giving ourselves that same grace. I notice that every single time I start making this podcast, the episode starts in the same way. I read the teachings. I sit with it. I understand it. I research it. I reflect on it. And then the teaching lives. It becomes a way of life. It's a deeper, broader teaching, more expanded. and reflective in all of life. And this episode is no different, because it was a reminder that I'm still learning how to walk my own path. As I've stated before, my dad attended the Intermountain Indian in Brigham City, the boarding school. And like so many Indigenous families, that created an interruption. Not because our parents or grandparents didn't love us, it's because so much was taken from them. Language, tradition, identity. The confidence to pass certain teachings forward. Growing up, I knew I was Navajo, Diné, but I really didn't know exactly what that meant. And at this point in my life, I am finding myself taking the first steps that many people take as children. Sometimes it's intimidating, and I definitely mispronounce words, probably all. And I have reread and read and reread a bunch of these teachings until I get it to click. But what this teaching reminds me is that maybe that's exactly what our first steps are supposed to look like. They're not supposed to be perfect. They're just supposed to be taken. And what I continuously admire about the Diné teachings is that how intentional they are. Nothing is random. The moccasins mattered. The corn pollen mattered. The pathway, the blessing, everything reinforced one simple truth, that life is sacred. Today, we celebrate milestones with photographs, and our ancestors celebrated milestones with teachings. One creates memories, the other creates identity. Imagine beginning your life hearing this message. May your entire journey be one of beauty. And what better blessing than that? And it's one we all get the opportunity to begin. It's taking that first step. So, what does Kéék'eh Haschíín teach us today? I think that it asks one simple question. How are you walking your path? Not where are you going? Not how successful are you? Not what title do you hold? But how are you walking? Are you walking with integrity, with compassion, with humility, with gratitude? And are you walking in alignment with what you say and your values that matter most? Because success without harmony often feels empty. Achievement without balance becomes exhausting. But walking in Hózhó, that's where peace lives. So, if you'd like to apply this, how can you go and practice this? Tomorrow morning, before you pick up your phone, before you look at your calendar, before you dive into work, pause for just a minute and ask yourself one question. How do I want to walk today? Not what do I need to accomplish, but how do I want to walk? With patience, with courage, with honesty, with kindness. Because changing how we walk often changes where we end up. Maybe Kéék'eh Haschíín isn't just something that happened once when we were toddlers. Maybe it's every single time we choose healing. Every time we reconnect with our culture. Every time we forgive ourselves for stumbling. Every time we choose to begin again. Because we are taking our first steps over and over again. And I believe that that's what the invitation of this teaching is. Not to become perfect, but to keep walking, keep learning, keep remembering, keep choosing Hózhó, one step at a time. So one thing I am taking with me from Kéék'eh Haschíín is this. I don't have to have everything figured out. And just like a child learning how to walk, my job is not to be perfect. My job is just to keep taking the next step towards Hózhó. This teaching reminded me that healing, reconnecting with my heritage, and becoming the person I'm meant to be all happens in the same way that a child takes his first steps. One uncertain, courageous step at a time. If this episode gives you something to reflect on, I would love to know what one thing you are taking away with you today. Before we close, I would like to thank you for being a part of my journey. Learn My Heritage with Me is a project of the Hózhó Path Renewal Foundation, a Diné-led nonprofit. We're committed in bringing awareness into action through 5 separate pillars: reclaiming heritage, healing and personal growth, where we are creating opportunities for healing and resilience, community action and advocacy, where we are turning awareness into action through events including MMIW and P are run on Thanksgiving Day, and then also affecting future generations, investing in our youth. And we will be expanding into veterans and mental health, honoring those who have served. And if today's episode resonated with you, there are so many ways you can help us continue this work. You can subscribe to the podcast, share this episode with someone who has the heart for learning, and then also leave us a review to help these teachings reach more people. You can attend one of our community events, volunteer your time or your talents, become a sponsor or community partner, or you can make a tax-deductible donation to help us preserve the Indigenous knowledge and create opportunities for healing and connection. Because every teaching remembered, every story shared, every conversation started helps ensure that these traditions live in our future generations. To learn more or to support our mission, please visit HózhóPathRenewal.org. That's HOZHO pathrenewal.org. And thank you for walking this path with me. Until next time, Jogo Naja Do. May we continue to walk in beauty. Thank you for being here with me today and walking this path, this journey. If this resonates with you, please leave a comment and share your thoughts. I hope that you continue to walk this journey with me. Make sure that you like, follow, and subscribe to make sure that you stay in tune with all the latest episodes. And if you feel called, share this with someone who is also reconnecting to themselves and to their roots. Jogo Naja Do. I walk in beauty. I'll see you next episode.